So I was completely failing with Volume 1, with the first cut of my complete July haul, with the second version of it, anyways. Now you may, if you saw my complete July haul, and you didn't watch the video yet, you will probably notice that it's been privated. The reason for why that is because I didn't think I'd get everything that I needed for July. So I was like, because it was the 14th, yesterday it was the 14th, I was like, I'm not gonna get that book, am I? I was waiting on one last book. You saw what it was yesterday. I'll just show it right now. So TLDR for Undertow by Steve Orlando is the book was saying, oh, it got delivered to a wrong address, even after it was already late. So I was like, great, am I gonna get this book? So this is all the credits. It's a bunch of writers. This is like I think what they do is that, because I think each issue is a bit longer than your average Image comic trade, because it is 192 pages. So what they did is they at the end of each issue, I believe they gave like it was there's two stories in one. It's a backup story. I could be wrong. So yeah, it was delivered to the wrong address. I think what happened was USPS went above and beyond the Call of Duty, and they called the seller of this book, called HPB Ruby, and they got the right address or zip code. I believe it was a zip code, because again, it was the right state but the wrong town. But here it is, Undertow. I said who it was written by. 1 through 6, like I said before, and then here's the artwork. Not the best reviewed comic. It's about people going to Atlantis, and they're trying to find like I believe they're trying to find like a sea creature or something. They come across come across a what should we call it? The amphibian. And it's a creature that might be the key to life on land. They expected the beast, but instead they found a mad barbarian god. Now this is used very good. You can kind of tell, but honestly, again, I'll keep saying this like till the day I die, is that all these blemishes have appeared on books I've gotten from Amazon, new condition, not used, new condition. So no skin off my back, and honestly, it's a much better condition than I expected it to be in. No, sorry, I shouldn't say that, because I got a book from, I've gotten books from them before. Most notably, a book called, Zero Volumes book called. Most notably, Zero Volume 3, that was in May. And that was also by HB Ruby. It also used very good. And like this, you can barely tell the difference between that and used like new. Here you can definitely tell more little blemishes, but that's not too bad. Yeah, I was about to cancel this order altogether and just take it back. I'm gonna give it from another place. I'm glad I waited to do that. I did, like I said, actually the overview of this book is just by itself. I did technically say I no longer want this item, but it was through Amazon's, because it is a third-party seller, not Amazon themselves. It was through Amazon's automated junk, and they just said how to do it. It's like the steps to go through in order if you no longer wanted it. And I hope it didn't say like, oh, and then we'll also relay your message to HPB Ruby, because I'm not returning that book. And if they do, I'll just say, hey, that was a misprint. That was a misinput. Like that Penguin Zoe Charlie meme. It's Undertow. I show you guys the artwork. I did not get the best reviews, and also Steve Orlando isn't like my favorite writer at all that much, but it was the last book I needed by him, and I do like a lot of his stuff. And Namesake I didn't like, but I will be rereading that this time around when I go back to the library this week. But yes, Undertow. And not the last thing I needed for him altogether, because there are two series, one of which is out of print. And it's a series of like at least 4 volumes, and like volume 3 was out of print, like it was ridiculously priced. And I don't think you can get anything above used very good. And the other one hasn't been released yet via trade at least. And what's weird is that series I'm waiting on, all 6 issues have been released. Like last year, issue 6 came out, and no trade until December. I mean, at least we have a solicitation for when the Volume 2 is coming out, because it's Volume 2 of a series. It's Loaded Bible if you want to know what the series is I'm waiting on. Volume 1 was not written by him, so I find it very jarring that he wrote Volume 2. But it kind of reminds me of Screamland. Christopher Sabala did Volume 2, but he didn't do Volume 1. So it's another one of those kinds of things. Next up, we have Las Vegas by Jim McCon with artwork done by Janet K. Lee. All 4 issues, 4-issue miniseries, the last Jim McCon book I needed. like with Undertow, we did not get the best reviews, but it's all I needed from Jim McCon. Actually, all I needed from Jim McCon, for Image Comics at least. When I say all needed for this author, pretty much you can automatically assume that I mean for the publisher, like for Image Comics. That's all I needed. They said it was Ocean's 11 meets The Fifth Element. So, sci-fi crime book. Collecting issues 1 through 4, like I just said. None of the best reviews. Again, last time what I needed from Jim McCon. So, I just said to hell with it. And here's the artwork. Next two are both in the tradition of Game of Thrones books. The first one up is also a series that just so happens, both series are from Image Comics, but just so happens to share the name of a series that got denied from Image Comics. Image Comics said, nope, not picking that book up. And the reviewer who mentioned this book, he was reviewing Man-Eaters. He said, oh, Sovereign got, they not denied, but they, declined Sovereign. It's not declined. But they didn't pick up. They didn't pick up Sovereign. It's just the book is called Sovereign. They didn't pick up Sovereign for Man-Eaters. The series is called Sovereign. This is not the same Sovereign that he was talking about. I found that out. I kind of always knew that, but I still want to get this. And it's also written by an author I like, Chris Robertson. He had done British Paranormal Society, which I did put in the trade for solicitation for the local library, interloans. So hopefully I'll get that either today, or it'll come in today, or come in Thursday. I'll go either Wednesday or Friday. Maybe not put out tonight. No, there's no way I can do that. Well, maybe. No way. Especially doing back-to-back videos like this. But yeah, Sovereign, all 5 issues. I'll go over the artwork. And it's, in the tradition of Game of Thrones, Sovereign is set in the world which once knew gods. What's the other thing? Which once knew demons, gods, and magic. All three of which are coming back. To which all 3 are returning. So it sounds very interesting. Paul Mayberry does the artwork, by the way, if I didn't already mention that. Sovereign. All 5 issues. This next one is one that Nearby Condition recommended, and it's the other in the tradition of Game of Thrones, and that is The Last Siege. All 8 issues collected in here. It's The Last Siege, written by Landry Q. Walker, with artwork done by Justin Greenwood. Colors 1 through 4 are colored by Eric Jones, and colors 5 through 8 are colored by Brad Simpson. Now, one thing I want to mention here that I found kind of funny was that The Last Siege, I say, oh, it's like Game of Thrones, yada yada yada. Landry Q. Walker has a run on the Game of Thrones comic adaptation, graphic novel adaptations. He did it for book 2, so it's not book 1. But this is Last Siege. And there's 8, right? All 8 issues. Nearby Condition recommended it. And it was like, let's read the back here. A mysterious stranger arrives at a castle overrun with brutal soldiers who are bent on usurping the throne of the rightful heir, an 11-year-old girl. So one of those kinds of things. Storylines. Yeah, all 8 issues. Oh, artwork. Now, at the end of each issue, much like with Last God, and I'll show you what I mean in a second here, it's just a wall text kind of thing. It's like excerpts from an in-universe chapter book. Not chapter book. From an in-universe novel. So here it is. But unlike with Last God, this is only 1 page. At least the first issue. I think it's just 1 page for every issue, so it's 8 pages to deal with out of the 208-page story, and that's probably including everything probably. At most, you know what I mean. I'm saying weird. I'm sick of mine is like, ugh. But yes, of the 208-page book, but they include everything. There's a lot of extras. But anyways, Last God, it was 5 pages at least of that. It was like excerpts from they gave a little poem, they gave a little song, they gave you like a little it was a lot of world building stuff, but it was all text. And I don't like when they do that. Even Watchmen didn't completely like when they did that. I liked it when it was excerpts from the in-universe book Under the Hood, but other than that, I didn't really enjoy the excerpts. The things at the end, they had that, that just text, no pictures whatsoever, just text. And, you know, if it was a novel, that makes sense. If it was an illustrated novel and not every page had an illustration, that'd be fine. But this is a comic book, you know, it has artwork and has pictures in it. That's the whole point there. I did skip that when I first read Last God. So my second read through, which will be very soon. I'm dying to read that book again. I will read it. I'll basically be reading it back to front to back. I will still skip the bonus issue. That's just a guide for if you want to play the role playing game of Last God, because I don't need to read that. That's not part of the actual story, but everything else I will read. Yes, Last Siege 1 through 8. Next up is another series written by Landry Q. Walker, and that is Danger Club, Volume 1, Death collects 1 through 4, and Volume 2, Rebirth collects 5 through 8. And most notable about this is that it's a previously owned library book, or an ex-library copy, which I always found very interesting. Now this time it's Hennepin County Library, Minnesota. I think it's MN, I believe, which I believe is Minnesota. So that was pretty cool. I always find that funny when they do that, and provided the book is in good condition, unlike that Meg's. It was Meg's something digital, which I find that weird. They call it digital when it's you know what I'm gonna do it right now. We're gonna do this right now. I'm gonna just look it up right now. But they lied. They said, "Oh yeah, you just like new." And I opened the book and the binding is falling apart. Not completely, but just like it's off the hinges, basically. Is the best way to describe it. Amazon. Here we go. Come on. It's on the iPad. It's still a little slower. My iPad's wicked old. As for an Apple product, anyways. Going by not Apple product standards, it's not that old. So it was the book itself. The book that I got that was from that Meg's Digital guy. That was Coyotes Volume 2, and that was way back in Christmas time. It was the first book I got that was an actual library book, so I was like, the hell with it, I'll still keep it. Oh. Wait, was it Volume 2? Because I can get the trade from Amazon 1-day shipping. If I so desire, but I'm not going to do that. Come on. It's taking so long. It was sold by... Nope, it wasn't this one. So it was actually Volume 1, not Volume 2. So, I'm going to say it again. It was Volume 1, not Volume 2. Which is even worse. It's Volume 1. I don't know why I thought it was Volume 2. And it's good that I mentioned that because... I'm doing a cut of this video because of that fact. Now, I know this is not exactly professional and anybody else would cut this out. But... Or, they could... splice this video and be like, okay, here's they read all the dead air. No, I just do Coyotes too. My brain. I don't know why it's like mush right now. I didn't put through that much stress. Okay, so there we go. No, not the stars. If you saw what I was doing, you'd be like, oh my god, Amazon. Alright, now if you go to order. So it was, no, it wasn't. That's weird. What the hell? I swear to God, it was Meg's Comics Digital, because I got in that Coyotes Volume 2 that was been out of shape. It was CBK Books, apparently, they got from Volume... Yeah, because 8 Tracks Media, that book came in, so it was Volume 2. But why is it saying that? Did they rename themselves? I know it was Coyotes Volume 2 that I got in. But I thought it was Meg's Comics. It made us check the wrong book, and I always thought that was it. Oh, come on. Alright, screw it. You guys saw what it was. Alright, but that was my point. Alright, so Volume 1 collects a Danger Club, collects 1 through 4. I'm gonna say this shit all over again. It's just the things I have to say over and 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 over again. And it's so it's honestly kind of annoying because it's like, and I could just not mention it, but I want to mention it. So at the start of every book, every issue is a Silver Age homage. I like homage. I'm gonna do a TLDR. I like homages. They take the best out of, most of the time they seem to take the best out of the of that era, and they replace all the bad with the even more good. There's a series I'm reading right now called Unwritten. One of the subplots is an author writing a Golden Age character. I like the homage better than Golden Age comics themselves, because again, it takes the best out of introduction by Matt Fraction, by the way. It takes the best out of these are the best of the best from that era. And here's the actual artwork. It's just page 1 of every issue. It is the homage. It's not a big deal. Like I don't want guys thinking I'm like super annoyed right now that they do this over and over again. So I don't have to do it over and over. I could just do a community post if anything. So I just got one more book, and I don't have to make a month haul. So I'm showing off all the books for that month. Anyways, just split up into at least 2 videos. That was a super stutter. But yeah. I just thought to myself, oh yeah, that Undertow book, when I upload that, it's gonna be in August. It's gonna get, and then I'm gonna call it something like, you'll never believe what happened. Just doing that again, just to see if I get more views to that video. That seemed to work that one time. That Thief of Thieves unboxing video, which I have since renamed to Thief of Thieves 1 through 7 overview, but volumes 1 through 7 overview. But this is Danger Club Volume 1 Death, written by Landry Q. Walker, with the artwork done by Eric Jones and colors by Rusty Drake. A lot of other additional colorists. It's kind of annoying they did that, but there you go. That's probably for those, that first page they do the Silver Age homage. Volume 2, Rebirth, Danger Club, it collects 5 through 8. Written by Landry Q. Walker, art done by Eric Jones, colored by Rusty Drake, and then here is the additional colorists right there. Yeah, it was so weird. I swear to God, it was Mangus Comics Digital for Volume 2 of Coyotes. I don't think I would have gotten the wrong book. You know, I've been like, oh, it was... And I did that for, The Sword Volume 1. I was like, oh, well, you know, yada, yada. Or maybe it was Sword Volume 1. That was the one, because I looked it up for that, because I got it bent. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know, but whoever... I think it was ZBK Books. They basically lied. They said, oh yeah, it's in used like new condition. It wasn't. It was used, if anything, it was used very good condition. Next book up is called Stealth, written by Mike Costa, but this character of Stealth, or the series itself, is created by Robert Kirkman and Mark Silvestri. They did, back in the day, Image Comics did a series of one-shots called... it's gone. Pilot Season. I was thinking of this, and it's not called this, it's not called that. Pilot Season. It's called Pilot Season. Pilot Season. No, I thought I was saying Pilot Season. Pilot Season. And it was basically one-shots. Back in the day, way back when they started, it was one-shots, and won't get picked up for a series. That's where we got Necromancer. But out of all the series that I have that came out with pilot seasons beforehand, they did not collect the pilot season one-shot in the trade itself. So I had to get them on the Kindle, which I didn't mind doing that. And for pilot season 2007, I got that for such a cheap price. It was used very good, but I got it for such a cheap price and Amazon shipping that, so it was quick. So I just decided to hell with it. I'll get those 2 issues. I only needed 2 issues out of that entire trade. Technically only one. It was Necromancer. But there was also a issue for, it was a Cyberforce one-shot that was written by Jason Aaron. I almost said Jason Howard. But Jason Howard is the cover for the series. So it is Mike Costa as a writer for the series. Nate Bellegarde is the artist. And Tamara Bond-Villain, I like to call her Bond-Villain, is the colorist. So it's a stupid pun, I know. And then, a stupid pun, I know, but it's, and Jason Howard is the cover. Is it the cover? I did the covers. Jason Howard did the covers. My brain right now. It's like on 20 different things. I don't know why. And it's not even one of those things where it's the way I usually am. Here's the artwork. They also said, so this is a superhero whose father has Alzheimer's. That was enough for me to pick up the series. It's out of stock on Amazon themselves. I had to get this through a third-party seller. Now, if you guys want to know which third-party sellers I like the most, it's Wonderbook, Might Pay More Online, First Street Outlet, and HPB Blue. HPB Ruby is probably the worst out of all of them. next to that ZBK Books or whoever gave me Coyotes Volume 2. Yeah, so yeah, Coyotes Volume 2. Coyotes Volume 2 I could have gotten through Amazon, but I don't think it was available at that point. It couldn't have been, because Christmas time I wasn't looking to save money, so to speak, so I wasn't getting all third-party sellers, because that was the first time I did that. It was just if the book was out of stock on Amazon, I was like, you know what, let's get through third-party sellers. Let's not say, oh, I'm not going to get it. No, it's just do that. And I had a 98% success rate. Just 2 books came in pretty bad condition from a third-party seller, but that was it. But yeah, Stealth, 1 through 6, Mike Costa, we went over that one of the artwork. And they also said if you're a fan of Iron Man and Black Panther, you'll like this too. If you're fans of Iron Man and Black Panther. So there's that, Stealth. Here. I have 2 stacks of books, and I'm doing these videos back to back to back. So the next 2 series are both deal with drug cartels. The first of which is Gunning for Ramirez. Specifically, this deals with what if the deadliest assassin in all of Mexico, a man with dozens of kills to his name, was actually a vacuum repairman in Arizona. But also it does also deal with drug cartels. So it sounds very interesting, and I'm gonna see. It just shows how naive I am. But if you can do the QR code through the video itself, and if your phone will pick it up. I don't think it will, but I want to try it just for shits and giggles. Now this is an OGN. A lot of the books I got for July were most of them were OGNs. It's kind of funny. But OGN meaning original graphic novel. It's all in one. No issues previously collected into here. It's just this is the first official. You know what I mean. The artwork here. I'm sorry. I'm gonna show it again because I lost a train of thought. It's completely botched that. So here is the artwork. And I said, no, I'm going to show the page I usually showed. And they said the artwork was very cartoony, and I would definitely agree with that. One of the criticisms said it was too cartoonish for the story they're trying to tell, which I completely agree with. However, it wasn't a deal breaker for me. And they said it was very similar to Rob Gugliori's artwork. I'm sure I'm botching that pronunciation, but he did the artwork for Chew, and that's what his artwork reminds me a lot of. Now, Volume 2, this series came out like 2 years within one another. Volume 1 came out in 2020. Volume 2 came out. It's written and drawn by Nicholas Petrumal. And Volume 3, if you're doing the math right, because Volume 2 came out in 2022. Volume 3 will come out in 2024, because they said it was going to be a trilogy. But there are so many series. Like, a good example of a trilogy that hasn't been completed yet is the Jim Lives, there was the Paolo Baron 3-volume thing, because Volume 1 was Beatles, Volume 2 is Jim Morrison, and who knows what Volume 3 will be. There's a lot of those books that there's no news on in Volume 3 or more issues on that series. So many series have gotten canceled prematurely from Image, or just are on hiatus. One of which we'll see pretty soon here. In fact, after the next 2 books, you'll see it. This one is the other drug cartel book, and that's Stringer. This is written by Patrick Kindlon, with artwork done by Paul Tucker. Now, this one specifically deals with a drug mule, which is also a tennis player. So it's like the best as a tennis circuit drug dealer, and he becomes a drug mule for a drug cartel. And reminded me a lot of the Clint Eastwood movie The Mule, which I watched for the second time last week, and I enjoyed it. Not as much as I did the first time. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's one of those movies that's kind of like edge of your seat kind of thing. It's very slow paced though. But when you're watching it for the second time and you know most of what happens, it's been a long time, so it was a lot that I've forgotten about. But it's still one of those books where you're like, yeah, I remember how most of this shit happened. So I just want to watch it again because because of the fact that I got in Stringer. But so there's technically no real point in watching it again. But I still want to watch it. And it was on Netflix too, so I didn't have to pay a dime for it. That was the artwork for Stringer. I know you guys know you guys can tell what I'm doing, but it's just one of those things. The Five Fists of Science, written by Matt Fraction with artwork done by Steven Sanders. Now, this and the next series are the only 3 books I have from Matt Fraction for Image Comics. And if you know me, I'm a completist. I want to get everything by that author, no matter what. I'm even thinking of breaking they have this whole series of the library, so I'm not going to include that series. I might just break that rule and get those books. Not anytime soon, because I really should refrain from getting too much of what they already have at the library. Because for this month, for August Comic Haul, most of those books already, I've been doing that, but it's... You'll see why I decided to do that. Pretty much because it was cheap. But Five Fists, so for Matt Fraction, just what I was trying to say was... I break that rule. Last 2 months, and I think maybe even for May. No, May I was trying to do that, even though I failed that because I didn't do my research with some books that I was... Specifically Jim McConn, I found out there was more than he'd written than just Mind the Gap. But yes, that was... so I was trying to say... What I was trying to say was that... I'm distracted because I just forgot to... So, Sovereign, if you could see, there was a little price tag that said $3, and I did not pay $3 for Sovereign, but this, I think, is more accurate. It says $7. I believe that's around the price I paid for Five Fists of Science. So, I could tell that that Sovereign was their previously owned book as that sticker. So, this is all in one. It's an OGN, Five Fists of Science. I'm almost positive it is. Here's the artwork. So yeah, it was, and the main reason why I've been doing that in the past, not getting everything, not feeling the need to get everything by that author they've done for the publisher, Image Comics. Most of that is because one of the series that they have done is out of print or hard to find, and that's how it is with Casanova for Matt Fraction. First 2 volumes, I believe, maybe even 3 volumes, were pretty easy to find. They were pretty cheap too, but volume 3 was like ludicrously priced, and you had to pay. And it was used very good. There was no used like new. So I was like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna do that. I don't mind getting used very good, but if I'm paying, if I'm only paying like single digits for it, I will not go over $10 for getting a used very good book. Used like new, yeah, why not? But not used very good. So already gambling it. So here's the artwork. I'm already gambling it by getting it used very good. I don't want to pay double digits for something like that. Even if it is just $11.99. The next series is 2-volume series. This is ODY-C by Matt Fraction, written by Matt Fraction with artwork done by Christian Ward. And this is basically what they said is labeled as they said it was Homer's Odyssey, but like a science fiction trippy version of Homer's Odyssey. Hence the name ODY-C. So ODY-C Volume One, Off to Far Ithaca, collects 1 through 5 of ODY-C. Now only collects 10 issues between the 2 trades, which is what I paid for it, by the way, for both trades together. So it's $5.15. I was on my pay more online, so I did not decide to splurge the hardcover, even though the hardcover has those 2 missing issues, but so is the Kindle. And ODY-C Volume 2, Sons of the Wolf, collects 6 through 10. I'm pretty sure I did the artwork. Let's do it again. Yeah, I did. I saw that. Just in case. Have I been doing that? Did I do that for Last Siege? Yeah, I did. I remember I went on a long spiel talking about... Oh, did I do it for Stringer? I hope I did. Stringer is the #1 book I keep forgetting, no matter what cut we're on. I almost keep forgetting to show the artwork for. I forgot one time, but that was the original upload of to complete July haul, so it was get off my back because it's not getting uploaded anyways. I'm going to leave the upload. Red City, written by Daniel Corey with artwork done by Mark Dos Santos and Anthony DeCideway. One does the first half, and first half, and the other guy does the second half. And then like one page they do it together. So Red City, like with Las Vegas, is a sci-fi crime comic series. Now, a lot of these I didn't exactly look up what it was about. I like going in blind with some of these, but some of them I just decided to hell with that. I'll look up the plot synopsis. So next one up is a 2-volume series, and that's Moriarty Volume One, The Dark Chamber by Dylan Corey, with artwork done by Anthony DeCedaway, and that was it. Oh, and then colors, issues 3 and 4, colors are done by Perry Freeze. And so it's 20 years after Sherlock Holmes dies. Moriarty, blackmails Moriarty, and so M15 blackmails Moriarty into finding Holmes' lost long brother Mycroft. So one of those kinds of things, a mystery kind of comic action. And it was the only Sherlock Holmes book I needed, Sherlock Holmes in air quotes, book that I needed from Image Comics, other than, because Five Ghosts, one of the alter egos, is like a kind of like he turns into this guy turns into other, I think it was knocked out or something like that. He turns into these it was weird kind of plot, but he turns into classic literature characters like Sherlock Holmes was one. So it's like, I'll get this book too. It did also look interesting. The artwork, I'll show you again if I didn't. I might have should have already. Reminded me a lot of Mike Mignola. Like this could very easily be a Hellboy universe comic, or just a Mike Mignola book itself. It's not like you can tell the difference between this and Mike Mignola, but it's just that it's like darker colors and like it has that Hellboy feel. If you get what I'm saying. But yeah, Hellboy. Moriarty Volume One, The Dark Chamber, collects 1 through 4. And then Moriarty Volume 2, The Lazarus Tree, collects 5 through 8. Of Moriarty. Next one up is... That's backwards. Next one up is Lovesick, collecting 1 through 7 of Lovesick, written and drawn by Luana Vecchio, but not technically, because I found out yesterday the English adaptation dialogue is done by Edward Caio. It says C-A-I-O. And then I'm going to try not to show I'm going to try and show the same page I showed last time. There's not too much nudity, and it's very bloody, so if anything, the blood censors it, but not really. So there we go, it's for Lovesick. Now, as you can already tell, it's a horror erotica book. The thing that piqued my interest, I'm not a huge fan of erotica comics, so it's basically paying for porn, which is what I said last video. But it didn't get uploaded. Yesterday's video didn't get uploaded, but I basically said that I wouldn't want to pay for it. It is basically paying for porn. Like, something like this, I want, like, an actual story to go along with it, and the story is, and there is a story that goes along with it, and here is basically, people are paying for this, like, sick and depraved shit, and it's one of those kinds of things. That did great. It interests me a lot. So, there you go. And she did the artwork, not the story, for Bolero, which I read for the second time this past week, and I really enjoyed. So the next 5 are all written by the same author. The second one, the one after this book, he did one of the stories for it. It was an anthology series, but he did one of the stories for it, so I still count it as being written by the same author. So the first one up is Nowheresville by Mark Ricketts, written and drawn, and it's a beatnik crime comic, which sounds very strange, but also very interesting too. Artwork, it's a noir comic, so it's black and white, and it's pretty good black and white too. Now, it is the size of your average novel, not a graphic novel, but novel, which was kind of a deal breaker. It was kind of not a deal breaker. It was kind of annoying because I didn't know that until I got the book itself. So I never think to look up the dimensions of a comic. I automatically assume they're all going to be for softcover anyways. They're all going to be that comic trim size, not anything smaller than that. For trades, it's basically the size of your average comic. Which that's the kind of, it's especially if it's collecting issues, I want it to be the same size. Hardcovers, sometimes I don't mind being oversized. Like, I liked, one of the best parts about reading All-Star Batman and Robin was the artwork stood out even better in that huge, oversized Absolute Edition size. And also an OGN, it doesn't collect issues. This is the aforementioned anthology. This is called Put the Book Back on the Shelf, a Belle and Sebastian anthology. Now, this is basically people taking all these creators putting their own spin on these Belle and Sebastian lyrics. So Belle and Sebastian is a not crime indie rock band. I don't know what they're rock, but it's an indie band. And here's all the writers and artists. I think it was artists. Specifically, Andy Watson, Mark Ricketts, obviously, and Rick Remender do stories in here. So here's one of the stories. I'm going to show the 4 portions of this novel. I'm going to show this. I'm going to show the artwork 4 times because it's a bunch of different artists. So I'll do it 4 times. Obviously, there's more than 4 artists that are on this book, but here's for all you Gran Turismo fans. That's why I did the hashtag Gran Turismo. I don't know if I would do that. It's kind of, it's never seemed to work, and it's kind of like a bit scummy to do that. And I'll do it again because I'm not sure if I did it the 4th time. There you have it. I know I at least done it 3 times. I wasn't 100% sure if I did it for the 4th. So next one up is Night Trippers, written by Mark Ricketts, but the artwork this time is done by Mika Ferrator. And this is a serial killer obsessed with Elvis. There's a vampire cult, and also in the 60s, a new wave of British movers and shakers dictated the direction of art, music, cinema, satire, and fashion for the rest of the world. One of those kinds of books. So very strange but very interesting at the same time. There's the artwork for Night Trippers. And also worth noting, this is apparently used very good. This has some light scratches on the cover, and I honestly, even putting it under the light, I can't even tell. There are scratches on the book. Turns out that's the aesthetic. Like, they would have said the same for, they would have said, like, oh, Strange Adventures is where to the cover, but it's just the way that Strange Adventures looks. It's supposed to look like a book that you read so many times that the cover is worn now. Which I do like when they do aesthetics like that. It's kind of neat. Next up is Dioramas, a love story, written by Mark Ricketts. And there's a bunch of artists and colorists and inkers and everything. So I'm going to do that for the next 3 seconds. Alright. And Dioramas is a serial killer and his muse kind of story. Sounds very interesting. Sounds strange, but also, again, interesting. And interesting enough for me to pick up. Now, they did say the ending to this book is terrible, but it was like, yeah, it's not enough for me to not pick up the book. Now, I'm going to show the artwork again, because, especially on the back, this artwork reminds me a lot of Darwin Cook. And I'm sure the artist was inspired by Darwin Cook, because I think every artist is, in one way or another, it was around after Darwin Cook. There we go, Dioramas. Last, but certainly not the least, is Whiskey Dickel, International Cowgirl. Rodeo queen, astronaut, diplomat, movie star, international cowgirl, that's Miss Whiskey Dickel. Now the artwork here is done by Mike Hawthorne, right? I know it is. There's the artwork. It is in this, it is in the same dimensions as like a DC Black Label book, that Prestige Plus book, like album size, which is pretty cool. I do like that. I got one book that was smaller than the average comic trade, but now I have one that's wider. Same size still, right? Let's see. Nope. Whiskey Dickel is a little bit taller. And that, as they say, is that. Officially 22 comics for the month of July. I still count it no matter what. I probably will have a cutoff date, but I was gonna say, because yesterday I wasn't sure, I was saying, because I wasn't sure if I get it until 27th, at least, if anything, I get it later than that. So I did say, oh, the cutoff date is the 14th, no, and it's not gonna be that. The cutoff date, if anything, will probably be the 30th. If I'm waiting on the book past the 30th of the next month, I probably will say to hell with it, and then at that point I definitely would say to hell with it, and then just kind of as that month's book. or an in-between. But I still count Undertow as a July book. But that, as I say, is that. 22 comics. I hope I remember to show the artwork, but just in case, no, I'm going to do, so I can appease myself, I'm going to show the artwork again for Stringer. I'm pretty sure I did, but just in case I didn't, and you want to know, and you stuck around, there you go. It's the artwork for Stringer yet again. Next one will be the August haul, which is already a lot of books, but that's it. This next video, at least. I might, if I'm uploading this on Wednesday, tomorrow, it'll probably be Thursday's video. And it might just, because I don't know when I'm going to upload, because I'll go in the library sometime this week, and you might have a bunch of videos per day. I might just do that. That's it.